In this video, we're going to do an intro to Azure Mobile Services because you want to know what you're dealing with when using them in your app. So, what are mobile services? Imagine that you are a mobile app developer, whether it is Windows, iOS, or Android. You're going to be busy working on your app. You're going to be making the UI, the functionality, the page navigations, the artwork, and all that stuff is a full-time job. But imagine that you need a backend as a service. You need to have a database in the cloud somewhere that you're going to store data, or you're going to be doing, let's say you're going to be doing push notifications, or you want to have your users log in with Facebook or Twitter. That's really a lot of work to do, and you might not have a whole team of people to do that, or have someone that you can hire to do that. So there are many products out there that have backend as a service that can do that stuff for you. And Azure Mobile Services is Microsoft's offer. The cool thing about Azure Mobile Services is that it is cross-platform. So it lets you, so it can be your one backend service for your Windows, iOS, or Android app. So let's go through what AMS can do for you. Let's take a look at these animations. So firstly, authentication. Azure Mobile Services supports Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Microsoft. We can have data like customer data, for example, high scores in games, or customer orders if that's something that your app is doing. There's also server logic, which allows you to run scripts. Notifications, so if you have an iOS, Android, and Windows Phone version of your app, you can use the same notification infrastructure to send out push notifications. And a scheduler, so if you want to run a program on a schedule like every hour or something, you could do that with the scheduler, and you could even tie that into the push notifications. So maybe if you wanted to send the top news story of the day at 9 a.m. or something. We also have logging and dialogue. So there's a logging system so you can see what's happening to your mobile service. And scale allows you to scale from very small uses to big things like the 2014 Olympics, with the Winter Olympics, which used Azure, and they were sending out hundreds of millions of push notifications. So on the next slide, on the left here in blue, we have some of the supported clients. We have iOS, Android, HTML, JavaScript, and Windows 8 and Windows Phone. And on the right here are the facilities in Azure: SQL, blob storage, notification hubs, and virtual machines. And mobile services in green here sits in between the clients on the left and the Azure services on the right, because it's like a middleman, and the reason that it's there is that it makes it much easier to talk to these backends using the web tier layer here. Furthermore, for security reasons, you wouldn't want to go directly from a client to your database. Instead, you could have users authenticate against a mobile service, which would be a much more secure way to do it. So if you're a Microsoft employee that is at the event that I presented this at, you know that you can go over to //subscriptions and sign up and activate your Azure service there. So for everyone else, there's also the Azure free trial. So here, once you have that set up, we're going to take a look at creating a new mobile service and then to get it running locally. So I'm going to assume that you've already got yourself signed up for Azure, and I'm going to jump ahead to the portal and spin up a new mobile service. So now that we're over here on the Microsoft Azure portal, that is azure.microsoft.com, let's go ahead and sign in. That would also have been the place to sign up for your free trial if you don't already have Azure. Okay, I paused the recording for a second because I was having some issues logging into the portal, but now that I've got the right account logged in, this is what the Azure portal looks like. So everyone gets 10 websites and 10 mobile services with your account. So today we're going to look at making a new mobile service. So if you click on mobile service, and go down to new mobile create. This walks you through setting up your new mobile service. So you'll want to pick a unique URL for testing. And everyone gets one 20 megabyte SQL database, and I've already used mine, so I'm just going to set this up with creating a new one, but you should use the 20 megabyte one. And then you'll want to pick your region, and I'm just going to pick West US since they don't have the region that I'm in here. And let's leave it at JavaScript. So then it creates your database, and you want to choose a server that is in the same region as you picked on the last page. And you can pick your login name and your password. Because I've already done this, I don't want to create another one, but if you went ahead and typed in your password and then press create, it'll look exactly like how I'm about to show you. And you don't need to click this advanced database settings. So you go ahead and press the check mark, and then it'll create your mobile service right here. So we're going to take a look at this one that I created. So if you go over to the first column and press the next arrow, so just wait for that to load. Okay. It'll take you to this next page where you can choose the platform that you're working with. So let's stick with the Windows Store for now and click on create a new Windows Store app. So this will take you through a little hands-on lab that is built here into Azure Mobile Services. So first you want to make sure that you have Visual Studio installed. I already have that, so I'm set for this. And then you'll want to create a to-do item table. So once you click that, I already have a to-do item table in this mobile service because I've already fiddled with this a bit. So you can go ahead and click that, and it'll have a check mark when it's done. And let's leave it at C#. So you can go ahead and download that. So I'll download it again. And you want to save it and then go take a look at it in the File Explorer. So what we've done is we created a table, and it was created in the database that we already made. So when you see it here in your downloads folder, you want to make sure that first you have it unblocked so that it doesn't cause us any problems. And then you want to extract that. Don't go in and just navigate around the folder. You want to actually select your zip folder and press extract. Extract all. So then we want to run this solution in Visual Studio. So let's go ahead and open that up. So I've got it open in Visual Studio. Let's go ahead and run that. And it's just loading up. It's taking a little while. Okay, if this video was a little glitchy, it's because I've had to pause it here and there because things are being slow and I don't want you to just sit here watching it. So anyway, I went ahead and I ran this app and I added in these to-do items. So if I go ahead and I click that I finished one of them, it should go away. So doing it earlier. So you should be able to add items and then check them off on the list. And then when we go back to the Azure portal, you'll be able to see, so if you go back to the little cloud symbol, dashboard, data. Okay, so if we go back to data, we can see what I created here in my to-do list. So, okay, so it did save. No, I created pet cat another day, I think. Anyway. So, okay, so now I've just gone back to the Azure portal and I clicked on data. So over here, I clicked on data and then I pressed the forward arrow to go ahead and look at the activity that was going on in my to-do items. So here are what I created, and true means that I did finish those. So if you saw me check off that I finished cleaning, here it shows that too. So here we can see that Azure is storing all the activities that is happening from our app. So this could be useful if, let's say, from your app, maybe you did make a to-do item app. Here it would store all of that data, and you as the owner of the app could go in and check it from the back end. So I hope that was like a helpful little introduction for you for using Azure Mobile Services. If you're interested in adding authentication to your app, we actually have some trials on how to do that too, just like the one we just walked through. Let me see if I can find where that was. So here you could go down to how to add authentication, how to add push notifications. I believe this one is quite quick to do too, maybe 10-15 minutes, and the push notifications one might be a little bit longer, like maybe half an hour. So let's return back to the PowerPoint. Oh, sorry, one thing before we go back to that is you'll want to go over, if we go back into our to-do items, we can go over to the script tab, and you can see here how you can extend your Azure Mobile Services by writing scripts. So the scripts here for insert, update, delete, and read are in Node.js, and we can see the code snippets that are run. And here we can see the columns and the permissions. So right now it's really mostly set to like anybody can use it, but when your app goes live, you might want to make the permissions a little stricter. So, okay, yeah, let's go back over to the PowerPoint. Okay, so now we're back over to the PowerPoint. So, server-side scripts. In addition to creating a REST API when you generate a table, Azure Mobile Services also creates scripts which intercept the CRUD requests against your table. As Mobile Services is built off of Node.js, these scripts are Node-style scripts. So by default, these scripts just pass through whatever you have sent over to the SQL database. However, like we saw, you can customize your own logic in these scripts to do whatever you want. So using the scheduler, if you want to do back-end processing, you can do that with mobile services as well. So the scheduler allows you to generate scripts which can run either on a scheduled basis or on demand. The frequency and length of execution is based off of your service level. So this is ideal for doing any sort of back-end data processing or recurring server-side functionality that you need. Did I skip a slide? No. Okay. So let's talk more about the scale options. First, there is a free level of mobile services which gives you 500,000 API calls for your whole subscription per month. The standard is 1.5 million API calls per unit in a month, and premium is 15 million API calls per unit in a month. Let's look at the tiers in more detail. For SQL database, there's 20 megabytes free that you can use, but SQL is charged separately for mobile services. So here are some more resources if you would like to get a Windows Azure free trial account, and more videos and tutorials are available here, and the source code is also on GitHub. Thank you, that is the end of this slideshow.